Hello friends, in the last video we have seen the topics of magnetic declination and dip, and in this video we are going to see the topics of included angle, deflection angle, local attraction and types of compass. So first let us start with the included angles. So what is included angle is, it is the angle measured from previous line to next line in clockwise direction at a given station. Okay, what is included angle? It is the angle measured from previous line to next line in the clockwise direction. So remember, like when I say included angle, you must measure it only in the clockwise direction, and that should be from only previous line to next line. You should not measure from next line to the previous line. So now suppose I am considering a clockwise traverse here. I am considering a clockwise traverse. A clockwise traverse means, first suppose this is the station A, this is the station B, this is the station C, this is station D, and this is the station E. Now you can see like the traverse is in the clockwise direction here. Okay. Now suppose I want to measure the angle at station B. Okay, I want to measure the included angle at station B. Then how to measure that? You have to measure from previous line to next line in the clockwise direction. So this is the previous line and this is the next line. So whether we have to measure it in this direction, that is the anti-clockwise direction, or clockwise direction, this direction, we have to measure it in the clockwise direction. So this will be the included angle at this station. Okay, now suppose take the station C. Okay, take the station C. So at the station C, this is the previous line and this is the next line. So you have to measure it in the clockwise direction like this. You should not measure like this. Okay, so this will be the included angle. So what I am trying to say is, if you take a clockwise traverse, okay, if you take a clockwise traverse, included angles are external angles. Okay, so remember that internal angle is different, included angle is different. Internal angle means always the inner angles here. That will be the internal angle. But included angle may be the external angle, maybe the internal angle. That depends. Now suppose you consider a anti-clockwise traverse. Okay, that means suppose station A is here, station B is here, C is here, D is here, and E is here. So this is the traverse now. Okay, so now in this case, if I want to measure the included angle, suppose at station B. Okay, if I want to measure the included angle at station B, so then what I have to do? First I have to measure it from the station A. I have to measure it from the previous line to the next line. This is the previous line, this is the next line. I have to measure it in the clockwise direction. So this will be the included angle. And next, if you take the at station C, this is the previous line, this is the next line. So you have to measure it in the clockwise direction like this. So again, this will be the included angle. So now what I am trying to say is, if you take the anti-clockwise traverse, included angles are the internal angles. Okay, so remember this clearly. If you take the clockwise traverse, external angles are the included angles. If you take the anti-clockwise traverse, internal angles are the included angles. But while solving a problem, every time we can't see what is clockwise traverse and what is anti-clockwise traverse. So if you want to determine included angle, simple formula is, okay, included angle simple formula is back bearing of next line minus forebearing of the previous line. Back bearing of the next line minus forebearing of the previous line. So if you use this directly, we will get the formula of the included angle. Okay, so you don't need to check whether it is the clockwise traverse or anti-clockwise direction. Anti-clockwise traverse. Just we have to determine the back bearing of the next line, and we have to determine the forebearing of the previous line. So this minus this, that will give you the included angle. Now if suppose they are the internal angles, okay, they are the internal angles, then what should be the sum of the angles in the closed traverse? Okay, for a closed traverse, what should be the sum of the internal angles? That is 2n minus 4 into 90 degrees. And if you take the external angles, what should be the sum of the angles? So 2n plus 4 into 90 degrees. Okay, so what is the formula for the included angle? It is the back bearing of next line minus fore bearing of the previous line. And in the clockwise traverse, what are the included angles? External angles. In the anti-clockwise traverse, which are the included angles? Internal angles. Okay, then next one is the deflection angle. So what is deflection angle is? It is the deflection in direction of a line at a given station. Suppose there are two lines like this, AB and BC. Okay, now actually the direction of the line is this one. Okay, actually this is the direction of the line AB. But at station B, there is some deflection in the line BC. Okay, at station B, there is some deflection in the line. So this deflection is called as, okay, this deflection, whatever you can see here, that is called as a deflection angle. Okay, so now how to determine the deflection angle is, suppose bearing of this line is theta 1, let us say, and bearing of this line is theta 2. Okay, bearing of this line is theta 1, bearing of this line is theta 2. Then what will be the bearing of this line? Bearing of this line will be equal to theta 2 minus theta 1 simply. Okay, theta 2 minus theta 1. Okay, then whatever the deflection angle is there, in no case it can be greater than 180. Okay, deflection angle can't be greater than 180. Suppose by formula, if you got it as if you got it as 270 degrees, or else you got it as 260 degrees, then what we have to do is we have to subtract it from the 360 degrees. Okay, suppose you got it as 200, so you have to take it like 360 degrees minus 200, which is equal to 160 degrees. So like that you have to determine. Suppose if you got negative value, then we have to take the mod symbol. So deflection angle equal to mod of theta 2 minus theta 1. So whether this is a positive value or negative value, you have to consider it like a positive value only. Okay. Then what can be the maximum value of deflection angle? It can be 180 degrees. In no case it should be greater than 180 degrees. If it is greater than 180 degrees, what we have to do? We have to subtract it from the 360. Then whatever the angle you got, that has to be taken as the deflection angle. Then in a closed traverse, the sum of the deflection angle should be 360 degrees. Okay, if the closed traverse is there, sum of the deflection angles is always constant. That is how much? 360 degrees. Okay, then next one is the local attraction. So what is this local attraction is? Suppose you have placed the magnetic compass here, and this is the magnetic needle. This is the magnetic needle. And this magnetic needle always shows which direction? It always shows the magnetic north direction. Okay, it always shows the magnetic north direction. Now the point is, suppose there are any magnetic substances nearby. Okay, this is the magnetic substance. So when the magnetic substance is there nearby, what happens? Whatever this needle is there, that will deflect in this direction. Okay, that will deflect in this direction. So because of this, what happens is, instead of showing actual magnetic north, this will be shown as the magnetic north. So because of this, you will get the wrong readings. Okay, because of the effect of the local attraction, what happens? Wrong readings are obtained. Okay, now how to check whether the station is affected by local attraction or not? Suppose there are there is a traverse like this. This is station A, station B, C, D, E, F. So how to check whether there is a local attraction effect at any station or not? So what we have to do is, we have to check the back bearing minus fore bearing. Okay, we have to check the value of back bearing minus fore bearing. That should be like how much? Plus or minus 180 degrees. So if back bearing minus fore bearing is plus or minus 180 degrees, we can say that station is not affected by the local attraction. Otherwise, we can say that station is affected by the local attraction. The problem on this local attractions are very important, especially for the GATE exam and IES exam. But for the remaining exams, it's not that important. So next one is the types of the compass. So first, let us see the difference between surveyor compass and prismatic compass. Okay. Now, when you take the surveyor compass, here there is a graduation circle and here is the magnetic needle. Now, both of them lies at the different level here. Okay. But if you see the prismatic compass, so this is the graduation circle and this is the magnetic needle. Both of them lies at the same level. So here graduation circle and magnetic needle are not attached, whereas in the prismatic compass both are attached and they lies at the same level. So that's the first difference between them. Needle and graduation circle lies at different level in the surveyor compass. They lies at the same level in the prismatic compass. Then second difference is whatever the needle is there here, that will act as the index. Okay, in the surveyor compass, needle act as the index, but in the prismatic compass, needle doesn't act as the index. Instead, it only shows the magnetic north direction. Here the needle shows the magnetic north direction. Along with that, it also acts as the index. Then next one is, in the surveyor compass, sighting and reading has to be done one after another, whereas in the prismatic compass, sighting and reading can be done simultaneously. So now if you see the surveyor compass, suppose the eye vein located here, let us say, okay, eye vein located here, then you are sighting an object which is here. Okay, you are sighting an object which is here. Then through the eye vein we will see the object, and while rotating the instrument, whatever the readings on the graduation circle changes, so whatever the reading is there at the magnetic north end, that will be taken as the final bearing. Okay, so here what we have to do is, first we have to sight the object, then we have to come to this point and we have to check what is the reading. So first you have to do the sighting, then we have to do the reading, then you have to take the reading. But if you take the prismatic compass, suppose this is the eye vein here, okay, this is the eye vein here. Through the eye vein we will sight the object, so whatever the needle is there, that will remains like that only. Whatever the graduation circle is there, that will also not change the position, but we will sight the object like this. Then whatever the prism is there, through the prism we can see whatever the reading is there here. So you can do both sighting and reading at a time here. Okay, then in the surveyor compass, readings are given in the reduced bearing system. You can observe here, suppose here north is there, okay, and here south is there, 10 to 90 degrees is there, again 80, 70, 60 like that. So the point is, in the surveyor compass, readings are given in the reduced bearing system. And if you see here, the reading starts from 0 here, the reading starts from 0 here, then it will come like 359 degrees, 360 degrees to the end here. So here the readings are given in which system? Whole circle bearing system. Okay, that's the fourth point. Okay, so in the surveyor compass, readings are given in the reduced bearing system. In the prismatic compass, they are given in the whole circle bearing system. Next to last one is, if you use the surveyor compass, you must use the tripod. But if you use the prismatic compass, tripod is not necessary. You can simply handle it using the hand. Okay, so this is the difference between surveyor compass and prismatic compass. With this, compass surveying is over, and in the next video we are going to see the leveling. If you like this video, please share it to your friends and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.